Welcome to Three Season of Pod, episode 26. Right?
I think so.
We're gonna call this episode 36.
I like that. I like that.
No, I think everybody at this point knows what went down on Thursday. I believe Thursday night,
Yes.
Wednesday night. Sorry,
Was it Wednesday night?
was it Wednesday night? I remember going to work twice, so I don't
It
know.
was like maybe it was Thursday morning
I don't even remember, bro. Like it
because
was
that shit was like they basically did it at midnight essentially. 'Cause
no, yo.
the whole
Actually,
KP thing.
it was Tuesday night. I remember
Oh really?
going. I remember going in on Wednesday or Thursday, whatever day it was. Like fucking on 3 hours of sleep. I was up till 3 a.m. reading Twitter and shit. It was
No,
bad.
yeah. I was that night. I was up till like 1, 2.
Dog,
I was like, damn. I was supposed to sleep early.
it was bad. Yo, I was ready to already go to sleep. I was sitting there like, I either announce the trade or not, and then I'll fucking go to bed. And then
Yeah,
the
yeah.
fucking trade goes through. I'm celebrating, and all of a sudden, Marcus Smart is included. I'm like, what? Is this a joke?
Crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, so I think kind of very off guard. So as you already know, what we were talking about here is the Celtics pulled off a 13 deal with the Washington Wizards and the Memphis Grizzlies, with Kristaps Porzingis and 2 first-round picks coming to the Celtics. Um, Marcus Smart going to the Memphis Grizzlies, which was the shocker here, and T.S. Jones and I think like a second-round pick or some shit going to the Wizards.
Mm.
Yeah, dude. I think we kind of just went over the initial reaction, dude. Like I was just so shocked. I didn't think.
Nah, I was very shocked, especially because Brogdon was in the talks. I was like, this is
Yo,
absolutely perfect. We've been talking about Brogdon being like
the odd
probably
man out.
B1 based
Yeah,
off contract and stuff. And I was like, yo, this squad is gonna be looking like nasty.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, and even in the group chat when we were texting and shit, we were like, okay, so like Brogdon, Porzingis, Tyus Jones, like straight up type shit.
Yeah,
And we were
no.
like,
Initially, it was the Clippers. We were talking about Marcus Morris going to Wizards.
yeah, no, I know that, but I'm saying like when the Grizzlies thing got confirmed,
Oh
we were
yeah,
like, oh, they're not like attaching any extra players. It
yeah,
just said Porzingis, and they just said to the Grizzlies or whatever.
right,
So
right.
we're like, oh, you know, we're sending Brogdon to Memphis type shit, and then Memphis was sending Tyus Jones because I think Tyus Jones was also the only one that was revealed from the Grizzlies side.
Mm-hmm.
So we were wondering what the heck like
The,
else was added for the Celtics.
I was, yeah, like I know we were talking. I think the last episode we did was like 2, 3 weeks ago. We were talking
Hmm.
about not blowing up the roster, but like decisions would need to be made. Not even
Hmm.
a few years, like after next year, probably. But I didn't think that shit would happen. Honestly, I didn't think Brad had it in him.
I didn't think he did either,
I'm not gonna
but I
lie.
give much more respect for
Yeah,
that. And even for me, like when I was, like I remember we talked about the smart trade specifically, and we were like, oh, like Nathan wouldn't like to hear that and all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
And I was like, the reason why I felt so not like conflicted, but like I wasn't sure how much I really liked this trade specifically. I
Mhm.
like it a lot more when obviously we'll get into that,
yeah,
but I was always like, okay, I'm down to send Smart out if
yeah,
it's like more of a splash trade.
yeah,
Like obviously we were not rumored, but everyone had talked about like Dame and stuff like that.
yeah. We
Like
got Dame.
yeah, like a caliber of that player. I'm down for like a switch up, give up Marcus Smart and stuff like that. But while Porzingis is like a splash of its own,
Hmm.
he's obviously not like to the echelon of those kinds of players.
Yeah,
So
not
it
at
kind of
all.
had me like, damn, like obviously Marcus Smart has so much value.
Yeah,
Um, on the court production is different from Porzingis for sure because
hmm,
Porzingis is essentially an all-star in terms of
yeah,
in-game production. But that is also that's probably the main reason why I was like super conflicted about it because I
hmm,
wasn't expecting Brad to trade Smart for something like a fringe all-star essentially.
yeah. And to add on to that, like I agree. I think it would have hurt. I think it would have still been like I guess shocking, but
Hmm.
the hurt wouldn't be as bad. I feel
Yeah.
right because like there would be some rationalization. Like, we traded Smart and JB, but we got like Dame and another solid piece or some shit.
Yeah.
You know what I
No,
mean? Like
exactly.
that would have hurt a lot less. Shit, even Embiid or some shit.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like it would have sucked initially. You're like, holy fuck, we just lost like the literal face of this retool of initially trading Paul Pierce and
Mhm.
Kevin Garnett. Like he's been the face. Like I know JB, we've had a lot of players better than him, but like I don't think there's any arguing that he's kind of like that connecting piece between
Yeah, I
like
mean,
this
you think of
turnaround.
the Celtics, you just think of Smart, bro.
Exactly. You
At
know,
least like what a Celtic is for sure.
exactly. Like just 100% effort all the time.
Yeah,
But
and definitely made it more like bittersweet because Brogdon was in talks for like 6 hours, so
dog.
we had already come to terms with that.
Like, and you know what the craziest part is? Like, we don't even know what the fuck is going on in Brog's head. Because I think
No, for
in
sure.
our group chats, and our group chats include Nathan, by the way. That dude's
Mhm.
depressed right now. Send him your thoughts and prayers. But but no, like we were like, what is Brogdon thinking right now? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's gotta hurt. Like, cause just you were out. Like you were gone. You were going to
Mhm.
LA, probably packing his bag, shams.
And I'm like, honestly, like I don't think that he would be, or I think it'll be fine.
I
Which
think
is like
he'll
it
be a
is
professional.
hilarious
Yeah,
situationally, but like I think he'll be fine because we traded fucking Marcus Smart.
yeah. But
Like, there's no way Brogdon's tight about almost being traded with the Celtic of the team.
I think, well, but I think it's like, I mean, obviously he's going to be a professional. I don't think he's that
Yeah,
kind of dude. Like, we know what kind of dude Brogdon is. We call him the Prez for a reason. But god
yeah.
damn, that got to hit you
I mean,
in
it'll
some
still be
way.
in his
You know
mind.
what I
Yeah,
mean?
it'll
It's
still be in
got
the
to
back of his
be,
mind.
bro. Like, and I think players play differently, man. If it's kind of like the Ray Allen situation all over again, where his talk was just like, there were talks about him being traded throughout the whole offseason, throughout the whole season. And, you know, a lot of people looking back, you gotta understand why Ray Allen left, right? It's the same thing here, man. That's just gonna be in the back of your head. At any moment, you can be
Mhm.
traded. Like these, like I think people, you gotta realize the NBA players are people, man. They got families.
Yeah, I mean, obviously with the Ray Allen thing, it's like Ray Allen accomplished way more, and it felt
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
and I could see him feeling like he was
Disrespected.
underappreciated
Yeah, exactly.
because he was like third on that totem pole,
100%.
and usually the third star never really gets the full respect. Um, while
Mm-hmm.
like Brogdon kind of knows his role, and I mean he was a sixth man. It's not like he
Yeah,
has delivered something for us and is like, oh my god, he's in
100%.
trade talk. So I think like it won't linger as much,
For
and
sure.
I still do think he gets shipped off in whether that be like trade deadline or like in the off season.
I can see
I
it.
don't know if we make that move right now or like once free agency starts like that. Ideally, I would want that to happen, but I could see Brad just being like, "Oh, I'm gonna wait for a better opportunity to
Hundred
like
percent.
either unload all these picks or just get rid of his contract when someone else is more of it." So just trying to fill out this roster right now.
Yeah, for sure. And I think with fucking, you know, the media kind of over overhyping his injury, calling it
Yeah,
like the worst injury ever, like nobody saw it coming. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't. He's obviously not going to be just shipped off as a cap casualty. I think he's going to be used to try to get value back. Like it's
for
not
sure. Yeah,
like not even like value in terms of like a first round pick or some shit. Like
yeah,
we're trying to
like
get a
the
player.
players.
Yeah. So anyway, as far as the trade, I'm gonna go into the pro. All right, man. I'm gonna be completely honest here. All right, I was fucking. It's like getting hit by a fucking truck. All right.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that that shit didn't hurt me. I'm not gonna
Hmm.
pretend that tears didn't shed when Marcus Smart sent that text or tweet, not text.
Oh man, messages. Tatum
Like,
reposting. Yeah,
bro,
I'm like,
Tatum, I'm
damn.
like, Tatum, you better clarify that you linking back up in Boston, because you're gonna be making like $70 million a year.
Hey, he's like stuck for like 6 years,
Yo, that
hopefully.
ass.
So hey, if there's ever gonna be a link up, there's no way it's not in Boston.
Yeah, y'all can look up at the big three with Ice Cube. Like, honestly, all right, look. Here's the thing. I've been seeing some people say this. It's not true. Objectively, this is a good basketball trade.
Oh, absolutely.
We got the best player in the deal. I love Marcus Smart. I'm acknowledging his impact. I don't think there's any denying that. But 1-to-1, Kristaps Porzingis is a better player, and we got him and 2 first round picks for Marcus Smart. Like that's a good fucking haul.
Hmm.
Like there's no denying all the other stuff we can bring up. You know, leadership, longevity, all that shit. But we got the better player individually, and we got that trade.
Yeah, and even like those trades ended up getting like, or those picks got traded for other second round picks like up,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone was like obviously memeing. Even us, we were like, yo, what the fuck is he even doing? Those picks, while they could be used for like a package or anything, they also have like mad value for when this new CBA comes in because of
100%.
like the non-guaranteed contracts and the fact that you don't have to have any commitment to these players. I think second round picks will be a lot more like valued and in the near future, and obviously even now too. Like you see, like Jay Crowder get traded for like 5 second round picks or some shit like that, or
Right.
like even Beal's trade had a few second round picks to like bring it over the edge type of thing. So I think that has a lot of value in its own, and as picks we will see like how much value they can have if we get players or not. So yeah, even all the people talking about like, oh, they're just late first rounds anyways, they're not going to really be anything, or we just traded up. At least for this draft, like I think there's a lot more value they're missing on those kinds of picks. And I don't hate the fact, or the idea that we didn't get a lot of value from those picks is like not true. I feel like we got a lot of value from those.
To be fair to the initial reactions, like the way Shams and Woj were tweeting about the Celtics trades was, they're trading out. They didn't kind of like list what we're getting back. I think the initial trade where we traded 25 for 31, like that was all they said. We're like, that's it. We're just moving back. Like we're not getting that in the future. And then obviously it came out later that we were. But I agree. I think in light of the new CBA, specifically teams like obviously
we're always going to be like in that.
Yeah, in that where we got 2 top tier players who more likely than not now are going to be on 2 supermaxes. We got elite role players like Derek White who's currently on a good deal, but Derek's gonna need to get paid,
especially if he takes up this,
especially
rises
after
up the
this
way that we
year.
expect.
Yeah, exactly. There's a possible ascension and next level or next step to be taken now, especially with Marcus off the roster. Like that dude's gonna get paid. We're probably looking at like $28 million a year. So like second round picks are gonna be extremely valuable for this team. And you look at a second round pick even just from last year. We're talking about JD already, and like when he was drafted last year, I don't think anybody thought he was going to be a part of the conversation as far as playing time within the next year. Now we're looking at that being a possibility, especially with the new CBA. But we have a lot of people making a lot of fucking money on this team. So second round picks are going to be valuable.
The young guys are going to, I mean, they're not going to be like extremely young. I don't expect us to pick up.
Like they're not going to
prospects.
They're not going to plug and play, but
but they're going to be extremely like important.
Yeah,
I think they're trying to make a pipeline for sure, where it's like a 2-year thing where they're in the G League, they come up and they can actually like contribute. Which is what I expect of JD and like Jordan Walsh. Like I don't know if Walsh will contribute this year. It'd be dope if he did, obviously, because the way that they were talking about him was like his shot is like a lot more improved. And obviously his defense is already applicable to the league. So things like that, it could take a year or two, but regardless, I feel like they're gonna try to have that kind of going back and forth so that they have people to rely on when these contracts get real hefty.
For sure. And then of course, we've talked plenty about Marcus and what we lost there, but like we got to talk about KP, bro. Like what does he bring to the table? I think obviously the roster construction is not done. We all have opinions on what else is needed. I would prefer to get another negotiator so that JB does not fall into that role ever again, please.
Which I do think we will end up getting.
I think we will too. Or even Brock. You know what? Maybe Brogdon shocks the world, right? Like,
that could be.
You never know.
Like he's still a legitimately good player.
Yeah, he's a really good player.
He has a lot of value, and this is like the highest that we could sell him if we were to sell him.
100%.
So it's like anyone who's talking about, oh my god, why are we thinking about trading Brogdon? He just won 6 Man of the Year.
Yeah,
there's a lot more nuance to this.
Yeah,
stuff.
and what does an award really mean, bro? It's just an award.
Exactly. And it's dope that he got it.
It is dope.
Like he got that 6 Man of the Year, so now we can trade him off even higher.
Yeah, that ass. Mike Conley, anybody? But no, for real though, like KP, I see the vision, man. Like after the talk and emotion kind of went away, right? And it's funny because we saw the vision before Marcus was being included.
Because
because Brogdon won, and then the kind of player KPP is like, look, I'm not saying he's a fringe all-star. I'm not saying this dude. We just got Kevin Durant or some shit. Like,
Yeah.
but man, I'm seeing the vision. I think he's the first real like big that can create for himself, right?
Yes.
Like we had Al. I think prime Al when he first signed here was capable of initiating the offense, and he was pretty good in the post. But the dynamic that KP brings or will potentially bring to this team, I think he can create. He's more than just a spacer.
Yeah, I mean, he's way more of like a face-up player too. While like Al would like do work in the post and play make off of that, and then obviously like hit spot up shots and stuff like that. I just think, in terms of KP would be doing that, but more obviously because he can be a low post presence as well. Face-up game is great, and then the spacing will just be insane.
Yeah, and he get hit the 3 ball, and not just
like he be going like logo type shit.
Dead ass.
If you let him, he'll be shooting.
But man, but I had here in my notes, like I feel like we were at least in the playoffs. We were at our best when JT was the primary initiator of our offense, the guy that was running the offense, right?
For 2 years now.
Yeah. And man, I feel like adding the dynamic of Porzingis would, when you think about that, when you think about Derek, JB, JT and JB will play their actual positions for the first time in years, by the way. JB's been playing forward, and JT's been playing the 4. So, like, they're slotting back into their initial draft positions. And then you slide in KP, and then more likely I would prefer Rob to start along personally, and I think that will actually happen hopefully.
I think it's underrated that Rob is having an off season to heal.
Exactly, but man, I think with JT truly running the show, I do. Obviously, Derek playing point guard, but I think JT is going to be the real initiator here in this offense.
That's what I'm saying.
But the offense is going to be so fucking fluid with the capabilities of everybody around JT, bro. And that will take all the scoring, a lot of, like, not all, but, like, a good chunk of the scoring responsibility and, pressure on that's usually on JT. That's going to be gone, bro. We're probably going to witness a generational season from Jason Tatum, bro. I'm not even kidding right now.
No, I feel that. I think, I was basically saying that in the group chat as well, where it's, like, super underrated that now JT isn't asked to do like everything, because we've seen in playoff series where he has to be the best scorer on the floor. He has to be the most impactful like wing defender, just based off of like how good he is. He might not be putting the most effort on the team, but he just has the length and the IQ to do it, and then also just be the best passer because him being the primary initiator has always been like the most effective. 100%. And I think like that's not that it's not talked about, but just the idea that now there's a clear hierarchy.
Yes.
I think that is also something that people aren't looking at. Yeah. Like Marcus Smart, as much as he's been a super good playmaker, I do think he's like an actual point guard. Yeah. Obviously, there was talks about no true point guard, blah, blah, blah. I do think he's like a true point guard and all that kind of stuff. But especially when we were coming back in Miami, I feel like it was just clear, like, Tatum, Brown, like, y'all do your thing. Like, you guys are the ones that are going to be effective throughout the whole game, have the ball in your hands most of the time the whole game, and we're going to, like, ride or die off that. And I feel like the dynamic with Smart was he was very high volume in terms of, like, having the ball a lot and starting to create off of that, which is fine, but there was no, like, clear hierarchy, in my opinion, like I was saying.
They were kind of, like, taking turns still.
Exactly. To where the ball handling duties now, there's no reason to not have Tatum either first or second all the time. And Derek White doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who will be like, all right, give me the ball, let me like run a play. He's just a connector, and I do think he'll step up to look to pass more often. But he's not gonna not like take over a possession because he wants to run a play or something like that.
Agreed.
And it's not that Smart didn't deserve that either, because he's been there the longest, obviously, and he has like the most chemistry with the star players and stuff. So it wasn't like it was bad for him to take over a possession in that way or like want the ball in his hands. But obviously having your player make those decisions at the end of the game, or even when
Yeah.
things start to get a little bit slower, is going to be like super important.
Yeah, I don't think it's more. I don't really think it's a knock on like Smart to have him do that. It's more so like there's potential for a better option now.
Yes.
I feel.
Yeah. And that's why I was like, I understand the idea that like Brad wanted a shakeup, and like we were saying, I hella props to him for doing it now, because
Yeah.
I didn't think he had it in him.
I didn't either.
But this is exactly what I meant for like we just needed a shakeup. It's not that this core was not amazing or like they couldn't get it done, but at the same time, after all these years, it's been the same core problems.
Yeah.
So there, in my opinion, there needed to be something of a change, and I feel like yeah, mentally and this is gonna ask for Tatum to adjust the way the way he's playing. Not that he needs to improve
JB.
even more. Yeah, JB as well. I just have the most faith, obviously, in Tatum because he has always come back and improved,
100%.
and we see that he can adjust his play style accordingly. So I have more faith that obviously Tatum will to not look for his shot as much, but also like look to set people up. And be like a ball handler most of the time.
Yeah, for sure. And then like, just on that, like to build off of that just a little bit. We all know we're going to be asking Tatum to a bit more, even though we just talked about him like not having as much responsibility as before in terms of pressure to score, pressure to be the best at everything at every single moment of the game.
Yep.
But like, I do also think Marcus. Okay, first let's talk about what we lose in Marcus. Like we lose in Marcus, literally leadership, veteran leadership, that they've built over the course of 9 years. I think the defense on the wing. I actually loved the dynamic that him and Derek brought when they started together. Like
yeah, and
that was amazing.
Mark covered a lot of holes.
Yeah,
especially like possessions where he would fucking guard like Embiid and stuff.
Exactly.
Like, that is very like hard to find, and those few possessions can be just very impactful.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times the hustle and the effort defensively hid a lot of deficiencies that specific players were not giving off the ball specifically. You know what I mean? But I think that, and Jaylen Brown, obviously, who I'm talking about. I think losing that is going to suck. But I think to build off of what you were mentioning earlier, where it's kind of forcing certain guys to step up, I think it's going to... We need to force JB to kind of step up that aspect of his game too, because we're losing a lot defensively here. I don't think that's understated at all. I think a lot of people like see that. But I do think JB has a reputation for being this elite defender. I don't know, man. Yeah.
He living off that reputation, bro.
He living off of year 2 right here. And it just hasn't been that, bro. Like, I'm not saying he's not capable still. He has all the tools to be an elite defender.
Yeah.
But if you've watched JB as a Celtics fan, or even as a non-Celtics fan, as an objective viewer, like that, other than like 2 games against Philly, he's been
I was gonna say like the Philly series is like the perfect indicator of like defense. Like he can turn it on, and he was like giving Harden hell.
Yep.
And like I was saying too earlier in the season, I was Brown should just be the point of attack defender like, all the time.
Yeah.
And that would make it so that his help defense and his lack of IQ there won't be as a big of a problem, because he's always at the point of attack.
Right.
And just based off of pure like intangibles and like his body and all that kind of stuff, that he would be able to just do that all the time effectively. But yeah, in that Philly series, it just was so evident that those 2 games that he was like locked in on Harden, amazing. And the rest of the series, basically non-existent. Like yo,
dead ass.
So like just like that is it's so such an easy indicator that his defense is or like he's living off the reputation that he was a great defender in year 2,
right?
Even though it's basically just off of like physicals, which is still true to this day, but it's much better at a point of attack defender, or as a point of attack defender.
100%. And I think like it's like I think just because there's a real thing where you have to really differentiate capability and actual performance.
Yep.
And the actual performance from JB has been substandard defensively. And it's mainly based on decision making. And I think Marcus really hid a lot of those deficiencies most nights.
Yes.
And even, the elevation of JT's defense, Rob playing the roamer and being healthy again, like that stuff hid a lot of that stuff. And I think losing a huge chunk of that defensive anchor-ish type of player in Marcus is hopefully going to force JB to be like, all right, I need a fucking... Let me step my shit up. And maybe he is the point of attack defender now. You know what I mean?
I would hope so. I mean, I don't know what they'll be cooking up in terms of like defensive scheme.
Yeah.
Because everyone talks about how good KP was on the drop coverage, which makes sense. He's fucking 7'3".
Yeah.
And we were playing a very like heavy switch defense when it was Al and Rob. So it's like I don't know if we would do a similar thing to that. Because obviously Rob is great is best as the roamer on defense, and then KP is best as a drop. So I feel like that could still work. It wouldn't be exactly the same as when we were switching everything, and Rob would be the one to stay in the paint all the time.
Yeah.
It could just be like a drop coverage, and obviously Rob is still roaming in some kind of way. But it does have me interested, and I do hope that they have Brown as the point of attack defender for the most part, because I mean White has been a great like help defender and like weak side defender, especially for like those blocks and stuff. Like he was doing great on that.
100%. And going back a little bit to the hierarchy thing, like I think this is the first time we've had a true third option in the Jays era.
Yes.
I know Marcus was kind of like the de facto third option, but I always like to view that the most recent era, obviously we're calling it the end of an era. It's the Marcus Smart era. It was more like rotational, like right, like we were sort of at our best where one night it'll be Marcus, the next night it'll be Derek, then it'll be Al. Whoever the fuck it may be that happened to step up that night, right? Now there's like a clear, concise JT, JB, KP, right?
Yes.
And arguably I could see KP being the number 2 on a lot of nights as well.
Yeah, no, I said that. I said the same exact shit in my notes.
Yeah.
I think so yeah, when we were doing the 2-man system and like the third man would just be whoever stepped up.
Yeah.
I think ideally that is a great like recipe, and that is like probably one of my favorite recipes overall, because that ends up letting the team have a lot of like high value like role players. We saw Derek White flashes. Marcus Smart might hit like 6 threes or something like that in a game, and that would save us, or Grant Williams or some shit like that. Those are my like I said, favorite kinds of teams overall. But that is super predicated on your number 2 being highly consistent. So
100%.
The fact that Brad saw the the deficiencies that Brown was having, and I think at this point we can't expect him to have a left hand or like improve his vision dramatically and stuff like that. Like we might see marginal stuff because he is just like reaching his prime, but he also could have just peaked. Like he could have peaked already, and like this is what we're gonna get from him 100%. For the next like 3-4 years. So for that, because he's not the like highest IQ or just like efficient basketball player as a number 2, I can understand why Brad was like, okay, we need someone on another caliber who can be that 2 or 3, or like that 3 but 2 on some nights as well, 100%. Or most nights. Like I could see KB just being super effective in this offense now at this point. To where they do rely on him, especially because people were talking a lot too about this. Oh, we can't play off of our best players because they're both wings. So if they switch, we're gonna get like another wing in general on them. So it's like the Tatum KP like 2-man game might just be used crazy amount compared to like a Tatum Brown thing. So it may even feel like KP is like
the number
the number 2 because of how much he's being used. Because Tatum is, in my opinion, gonna have the ball a lot more this season.
Oh yeah, we're gonna see we're gonna see like literally 35% usage rate this year all year.
I'm hoping.
And me too. But no, like and to go back on the Brown thing a little bit, like about peaking, and I actually agree. Probably he's entering his prime. I do think he can fix the left hand thing. That's really just like practice. I don't know. But like, what you can't fix is the IQ, bro. Like, you
that for sure. I don't see
once
that.
you hit 20, 25, 26, 27, your prime years, if the IQ ain't there, the IQ ain't there, bro. Like, you either understand the game or you don't.
I mean,
as far as initiating, as far as initiating an offense goes, like JB,
because I mean, like DeMar was looked at as someone who couldn't pass.
I feel like he just wasn't used that way in Toronto, though.
It could be that.
You know what I mean?
But I know people were on him, not on him because he couldn't pass.
Yeah.
But they didn't know that he could, or like he became a way better playmaker once he reached San Antonio.
Yeah.
And that was like around the same age too, like 27, 29.
I think he was younger than that, wasn't he? Like that was like.
Was he?
2019. That was 4-ish years ago. So, yeah, DeMar was like 27, right? 26, 27.
Yeah, I was
he's
like
the same age
27 to like 29.
He's the same age as JB is now, essentially.
Yeah, and like his playmaking kind of came out of nowhere. Or it kind of came out of nowhere, I guess. Maybe if you watched him a lot in Toronto, you might have saw like pockets of it. But for most people, we didn't expect him to be a good passer overall. Yeah. Not saying that JB will become a good passer. But I do think like there's way like once that game slows down, because that I believe is true too.
I agree.
Like once you reach a certain like age, the game really just slows down and you become like hyper efficient overall. Yeah. Especially like you see the KDs and the Currys of the world and shit like that. Like they're still going at 34, 35.
Yeah, exactly.
So I expect go down for JB a little bit. I don't know if I have as much faith to say he'll become a good passer.
Listen, man, like, and that's all fine. Look, I'm not saying like JB should never have the ball or anything like that.
Yeah.
But what I am saying is, if Tatum goes down, ideally Jaylen Brown's not running the pick and roll.
Yes.
And then making a decision off the pick and roll. Because 9 times out of 10, the decision from Jaylen Brown off of pick and roll is I'm gonna try to score this ball. So
I do think it would be fire if you could start to figure out a pick and roll with KP as well.
Look, man, and
that would be super.
Man, this is not even a knock on JB. The fact that he's an elite at a lot of shit that he does without a left handle, that says a lot, bro. Mm-hmm. Averaging 27 with no left hand, I don't know a lot of people that can do that.
Crazy.
But no, on the real, I think the hierarchy of Porzingis there will eliminate a lot of the deficiencies or holes that we see from certain players like JB. In light of like losing Marcus Smart, right, on defense that we just talked about. It's the same thing offensively, right? Now we're not really asking him to run the offense, and according to a lot of the people that have already done the tape watching, like he's grown as a passer out of the high post.
Yeah, a lot of people were saying that,
and almost similar to prime Al Horford that we brought up earlier, and I think that'll be the offense is going to be super fluid. I have no concerns about the offense, honestly.
Pretty much, yeah.
And
I think, it's just the whole like having 3 high caliber offensive players is just very enticing at this point because we've seen Tatum have his inconsistencies. Brown obviously like as the number one or like being someone who is relied upon as that number one. We also saw how that turned out. Yeah. So I just think that adding KP relieves a lot of these duties from Tatum and Brown because they don't have to be asked to do as much. And Tatum can just do everything that he is the most effective at. And even mentally, that might be like, I don't have to. Like, if he misses the first 2-3 shots, he might not be like, oh my God, I got to be like, I got to make it because my team is relying on me. Like, that could even just be a mental aspect where he knows he has KP who can do something in the game, even if he might be off as well. Or even if both of them are, he relies on to be able to score on or something like that. So 100%. I just think it'll be very, very free flowing in terms of the offense.
Yeah, and in light of that too, I think it takes a lot of pressure off JB to do the same, at least offensively, right? The offensive load being taken away from him, even more so than just the ball handling duties. Like now, hopefully, I would hope he doesn't think he needs to score 30 if Tatum's having an off night. Exactly. Now we have KP as well, and then in turn, you would think that would also kind of give you more, energy to put effort on the defensive end.
Yep.
And I think we're also going to witness Tatum kind of ascend into that elite two-way player.
Yeah.
Like elite on both ends type of deal with less pressure on him to be great offensively every night.
I think it's been Yeah, for both of them, I feel like it's been, or I would say like obviously more so Tatum, where it's been undervalued, and you just gotta like really watch the game to understand Tatum's impact and stuff on the defensive end. I would say in the playoffs, he definitely turned up even more,
Mm,
where you would see like just more impactful stuff, like
right.
locked up possessions or like a few blocks on like star players and stuff like that. But I feel yeah, once he has
Yeah.
more energy for there because he can actually output it,
Mm,
um, it'll be game changing.
yeah. And you know what? Like all the emotional stuff aside, like it still hurts to lose Marcus. You see the poster hanging
Absolutely.
behind me. Like it still hurts, man. Like losing a player, a long time, a huge fan favorite. Like yo, that man posted the goodbye, and that shit got like 50K likes in less than
Hmm.
45 minutes. Like that's how much he's loved here in New England, as a whole, and that sucks. But there's also a lot of positive things to look forward to for this team,
Yep.
and we're like we didn't all of a sudden overnight become a terrible fucking team. We still
Yeah, I
have
mean, shit, we got better.
we still
There's no way that you can't say
we
that.
kind of did get better, and
Yeah.
we still employ Jason Tatum and
Yep.
Jalen Brown. Like it's fun to meme him. You know, like that's been like free likes on Twitter to meme Jalen Brown. But like
Actually.
they're still all NBA caliber players, legitimately,
Hmm.
and no matter what you put around him, like you know, Kyle's goat Derek White's still on the team. You
Yes,
know,
sir.
my goat Rob Williams team. Like the we're still an excellent team, and we're still
Yes.
in talks to win the championship this coming year.
Yeah,
Um,
and props to Brad, man.
yeah.
Like just looking at the base value is insane. Like to be able to get a third star caliber player, and only lose one rotational player
Hmm.
is just like insane.
That
Like,
is insane.
but the reason why I love the 2 star and the rest of your roster is just really good.
Hmm.
That kind of formula is because you're not gutting your roster for 3 stars like we typically see for these super teams and shit like that.
Yep.
But for Brad to be able to get someone of that caliber and essentially make a big three without completely gutting a roster, like
Hmm.
we are still like in terms of our top 8, like we
Yeah.
have depth is insane,
And
bro.
and we're the ones that got the picks in that trade. Usually
Exactly.
a team like the Wizards or something, the one giving up that player is, you know. And we could talk about the fucking extension and shit on, like, that's a whole different conversation. That's
Yeah.
fine. But right now you have to talk about it with what you have. And coming into this year, we're looking really good. And Brad
Hmm.
got 2 first round picks on top of that. That's incredible, man. Brad Stevens is my goat, bro. Like
He's insane as a GM.
he's
Like
insane.
I'm hyped that people are starting to see it too. Like is on mainstream media where
Yeah.
like Stephen A was like, "Yo, he was a great coach. He might be
Yeah.
a better
He might,
GM." I'm
he
like,
might
"Yo,
be a better GM.
we've been saying this shit. Like he's cooking on all his trades.
Yo.
I don't think there's been a single trade where I've like either I don't trust his next move to build off of that, or it
Yeah.
was already just a win. Like
This,
these are already like always
yeah.
wins in my opinion.
There's usually an overwhelming positive coming from the trade.
Yes.
Like, I don't think this one was like an overwhelming positive. I do think there's like, but like for the most part, that's what Brad is.
Exactly.
And yeah, that man, the vision's there, bro. The vision is there, and it helps that he has the experience of like knowing what you would want on the court as a coach, and I think that
Mhm.
gives him the edge as a GM. But props to them. And now let's all right. Look, I think that kind of covered it. I think we both like the
Yeah, no, for
trade.
sure.
I think we both like the trade, and I will forever.
Oh, I
fucking-
will.
Go
I
ahead.
will also say real quick one last pro that I guess we didn't really touch upon yet,
Mhm.
where I feel like this is going to be big also for Tatum and Brown for the like leadership role.
Oh yeah,
Because for 2 to 3 years now, for Tatum and Brown to be our best players, but also everyone looked at Marcus Smart to be the heart and soul of this team
hmm
is like not the greatest look in my opinion.
Mhm.
I believe like that can be true to where like yes there is like Curry and then Draymond I would say was like the vocal leader and all that kind of stuff. But
Mhm.
Curry very much did he did his leadership in his ways as well. I
yeah.
feel like Tatum and Brown may have deferred a little bit too much to Marcus Smart being
I think they
that
deferred
leader.
fully, to be honest.
No, absolutely. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I want to give them some credit, so I said too much, but they might have completely deferred. So
100%.
like for people to look at the Celtics team and think that Marcus Smart and Al Horford are our leaders, I feel like was not, or was still putting like the training wheels on Tatum and Brown. And
Agreed.
like we can't have that as them being our star players. Like
Mhm.
one or ideally both of them
Yeah.
need to take that mantle and be like, this is our team. This is how we're going to do things. I'm going to set the tone of the game.
Right.
And I feel like this now is, like I said, taking the training wheels off and being like, Tatum, this is your team. Like you
Yeah.
need to do all the intangible stuff. You can't just show up and
You can't just
be
be
like a hard worker
talent,
and talented. You need to also lead this group because there isn't a Marcus Smart to do that now. Or if we're down 2-0 in a series, you need to be the one to bring these guys back,
Mhm.
whether that's from your gameplay or like being more vocal about it.
Yeah.
I feel like that is also something that I really like about this.
Yeah.
Or I'm optimistic because I want Tatum to be able to step into that role.
Yeah. No,
and have just more confidence, I guess.
I agree, and I think this would hopefully like wash, and he could wash all the conversation of like quote unquote body language and shit when things aren't going great, which I think are kind of like over.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But I agree. I think and we mentioned this before. We are losing in Marcus, but I do think. Okay, I know it's corny, but like all the talk about mama mentality and all that shit that JT kind of pushes his idols, Kobe. Like, yo, that's what Kobe used to do. He used to be on your ass about shit. If you wasn't like giving your full effort, like, and kind of being in the right spots and all that shit, Kobe was on your ass. And I really wish Tatum would kind of develop that part of his, leadership style, I guess.
Yeah.
He seems a lot more
even
stoic.
Even if he's more laid back, I just feel like if you can't just always be laid back.
Yeah, exactly.
There's got to be variance, or even like you got to know when you can turn it up.
Yeah.
And I think he knows how to do that now on the court.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know. Obviously, we're not in the locker rooms and shit.
Right.
But I don't know if that is apparent, like his vocal, or his presence.
Yeah.
I guess overall in the locker room.
I do think. To his credit, though, in the last couple of years, we have seen a little bit more emotion and like that type of that type of energy. But
before it was nothing, bro.
It was nothing at all, bro.
Now he's like, "This is my town,
this is my city." Shit. Yeah.
That's like I love
that's the shit I love. Yo, when that happened, we was texting like, "Oh shit, it's happening!" Right? If Tatum's on that kind of fucking energy, yo, like it's over. He might he got potential like to be in the conversation of like best in the league. But I hope this unlocks that. Like, this would be the consolation prize of losing a player of like Marcus Smart.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially, I'm not saying it's gonna happen.
Like I said,
I hope it
that's
happens.
what I'm saying. I'm optimistic in that.
Yeah.
That I would assume that it happens.
Yeah.
So I did put that in like pros and stuff like that, but I did want to touch upon that before we go into
for sure
the cons.
I think we kind of like intertwine the cons in that.
For sure, yeah, for sure.
So I think we can move on to like grades for each team.
Sure.
I think we'll grade Boston.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie. I give Memphis an A for this.
Yeah.
I love replacing Dylan Brooks with Marcus Smart. I think somebody said this. I don't want to say that I made this up, but like Marcus, they're getting Marcus Smart, which is who Dylan Brooks thought he was.
Oh yeah, like, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I would say I gave the trade a B+ for the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
And that's only because I don't know where they're gonna go with the small line, or not small lineup, but like the small guards of Ja, Smart, and Desmond Bane.
Yeah.
I feel like intangibles and all that kind of stuff, Marcus Smart was amazing. I just think that they also need like a big wing. A big wing is what I would feel like make them a championship team. Like obviously OG or something like that, because they just don't have that that wing that is super effective on the defensive end and can also like be something offensively. So I would put that a B+ because Marcus Smart might end up being a sixth man or something like that. He might close out games, but like I said, those three guards are still very tiny. And they could be taken advantage of in the playoffs or something like that.
I think I get that as far as like roster construction comes, and they're probably not even done making moves.
I don't think so either.
But I do think what Memphis lacked a lot of was discipline and leadership as a whole.
No, absolutely.
Like, I don't think Steven Adams had that kind of influence, even though he can be that kind of player.
Yeah, and I think that them having to build on that will be important because
Yeah,
getting like if they shot all their or gave all their shit for OG, like OG is not coming in there and being like a leader. He's
exactly.
just gonna do his job and do it very well.
Hmm.
But getting a Marcus Smart and potentially getting someone like an OG,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't even know if they have the assets for it and stuff like that, but I mean they could still.
Yeah,
Um, but getting someone like an OG on top of that would be like amazing for them
right.
because they do have that vocal leader now,
Hmm.
and they also have like someone on the wing who can provide.
Yeah.
I guess what I mean Dylan Brooks was doing. I know he was kind of playing guard and wing, but
Hmm.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, but no, I actually really like the move for them, and
Hmm.
it's subjective, but like I gave them a solid A personally.
Yeah.
Um, I know Tias was good for them too, but like I think that's an upgrade, obviously,
Yeah.
with Marcus there. And then for Washington, I'm gonna give him a B plus. I actually like Tias Jones as a player. I think he's a good connecting piece. Obviously, he's not like a player you build around or
Hmm.
anything. I'm not saying that, but like they're in an era similar to, not similar, but like I guess the era of connectivity, right? Like you obviously know your team sucked,
Hmm.
or like so now they're shedding everybody that was on that previous roster. This is that kind of limbo period where they're just like playing. They're just we are who we are, and I think
Yeah.
Tia Jones is good for that. I think he's a good player, and you know what? KP was gonna opt out anyway.
Yep.
Getting somebody at all for a player you were gonna lose, I think that's a win. So I gave him a B plus for that.
Yeah. I mean, this is just like mild spoilers, but I'm like I gave B plus to everyone because I was like, there's still something that each one could have. I
Yeah,
would say.
exactly.
So
I agree.
obviously the Wizards got, I would say, good value from the trade, and people's probably gonna opt out. And he's probably gonna opt out anyways. They got Jones, who is a steady, like he's a starting caliber point guard in my
He is.
opinion,
I agree.
very steady. Um, and then what was it? Oh, the fact that they didn't get any picks. That was, or based off of this trade
That was a little
specifically,
shocking. Yeah.
they didn't get the most valued picks.
Yeah.
Like the Celtics ended up getting the most valued picks. So
Because Brad
that
picked those,
obviously
man.
drops it down a little bit for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Overall, like B plus isn't bad for any of these teams. Like I
Oh,
think all of
100%.
these were like really good trades. But like I said, I just feel like there's a piece where I'm like, okay, once I get to the A tier, then I'm like, I think it was like almost a flawless like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
trade.
I hear you.
So to be in that B plus tier, I'm like, they just had like they didn't get the most value, but they got a lot of what they could get from this trade.
For sure. And then for Boston, obviously you said B plus.
Mhm.
I had them also at a B plus,
Yes.
and I dropped it from an A because of the pain of losing. No, for real, no, for real.
No, that makes
but
sense.
I definitely see the positivity. Like
Yeah.
after, I think, honestly, initially, like I was like, this trade sucks. like, no,
I
for
was just
real.
like,
No, for real. Like I like just dead ass. I watched this dude for 9 fucking years.
No, yeah,
you
no, I
grow to
hated
love
it
these
too.
players.
I was like
so,
losing Smart for sure.
so like your initial reaction, like at least for me, was just like, yo, this fucking sucks. But
I couldn't even think about the trade. I was just like, damn, we lost
yeah,
Smart.
we lost Smart, bro. There was just thought this dude would not retire. As Celtic, but
Agreed.
but
She still will.
that being said, after sleeping on it, not even sleeping on it. It took 2 days to sleep on it. But after the initial rawness of the trade and kind of like thinking it over, there's a lot of positive things to look forward to with adding Kristaps, with adding that Warriors pick, potential end of a dynasty here we're talking about.
Yep.
Just overall, the value we got is insane, man.
Yeah.
I can't give kudos to Brad enough, dude. Not only did we get the best player in the deal, we also got the fucking assets, dude.
Yeah,
We got
exactly.
the assets, which is insane. Also,
Yeah,
yeah, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say I basically had the same like thought process.
Yeah.
B plus because obviously I wouldn't say like my initial thing, but one of my first things when I was starting to think about how much value it was overall
Mhm.
was just like, is there more? And if I was thinking of that, then I don't think that was like a flawless trade or anything.
100%. No.
So that's why I bring it to that B plus.
Mhm.
Obviously, we talked about all the value of KP, and what losing Smart means,
Yep.
and I would say that the pros outweigh the cons for sure. So
Mhm.
it is still like objectively a positive trade.
Yep.
I think the draft also helped me a lot to like this trade more.
hear you.
Because of the fact that I wasn't sure what we were going to do with that 25th pick.
Mm-hmm.
If it was like, oh, we're going to draft a guard and that is going to be our playmaker that we build up or something like that, or we're going to trade deep or earlier in the draft and pick up a more touted prospect that can fit into that playmaker role that people are wanting. But the fact that we traded back and we ended up getting MLE.
It's funny.
What's up?
If Cam Whitmore fell to us at 25, that's an A.
No. 100%. If Cam Whitmore did, I was like, yo, insanity if he did.
Like the way everybody was talking about him, like, look, I don't follow. I'm not even gonna sit here and pretend like I follow fucking prospects in college and and shit. But
I just do my like I said.
Yeah, but like, the way the motherfuckers were talking about Cam Whitmore, I started watching fucking highlight reels. I was like, yo, give me this man right now.
Yeah,
like,
bro, he's like a forward version of like Shaden Sharp type shit.
That would be insane.
But that could be a horrible comparison, but from what I saw, that's what I'm feeling. Like,
just super fucking athletic.
Exactly,
is what he is,
and not like a to court, like from one end of the court to the other, but more so like vertical.
Yeah,
and he is still good, like first step kind of guy or whatever like that. But no, it was crazy that he dropped.
Yeah, in the reports, the Rockets were planning on taking him at 4.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, they got him anyway. That's crazy.
It was supposed to be like Amen Thompson, and then like Cam Whitmore, and then maybe like a star.
Yeah.
But so for him to drop to 20 was crazy. That would have been insane.
I guess the injury concerns are that real, but like,
that shit would have been A+, 100%. If we got Cam.
Yo, bro, like Ime Udoka's here to ruin our lives once again. Fuck that guy.
But yeah, the fact that we traded back, got the second round picks, got the guy that we wanted after Prosper, because I assumed that we wanted Prosper. And that also allowed us to get the MLE. That makes me a bit more comfortable to fill in that third guard role or something like that. Whether that is off a trade and we ended up using that MLE to get a wing or something. Just the fact that we can use it makes me feel a lot more comfortable with the trade, and that also brings it to a B+, in my opinion.
No, I agree. But yeah, no. I think this is one of the few deals where I think it was solid for all three parties involved. Honestly, and there was a report out there that Marcus was planned on being traded anyway. Yeah,
I was gonna say, like, low key, I could see a world where we wanted to trade Brogdon.
We were supposed to get Tias.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like Brogdon for KP, and then we still trade Marcus and we get Jones.
Yeah, and those
and the picks probably.
I think you know what, and honestly, I'm choosing to believe that, because
I think that would have been sense. That would have been better for sure, because then we get Jones as either a backup or a starter. But either way, I think it was still good. Yeah, like we still made something out of a Clippers team backing out like 30 like an hour before.
Fuck the Clippers, by the way.
Clippers, man.
You're fucking losers. but anyway, I think overall, all parties involved got better in some way, shape, or form. Not the Wizards. Yeah, the Wizards just rebuilding.
Yeah, they got better in the next trade we'll talk about.
They got better in terms of money.
That too.
But yeah, all right. So the other trade, this happened long before that trade.
We can talk about it a little.
But we can talk about it. The Brad Beal trade. So
yes, finally.
All right. Let's be honest here. We're gonna loop this as a 3-team trade. It officially happened as 2 separate trades, but realistically, this was a 3-team trade. Phoenix gets Bradley Beal. I think that's all they got. And they got like some fucking like Jonathan Goodwin or some shit.
Isaiah Todd or think.
Or Isaiah Todd. Yeah. So they got a bunch of like end of the bench players. But yeah, they deal. Wizards got CP3, and then promptly flipped him for Jordan Poole and a first-round pick, which is insane to me.
And Patrick Baldwin Jr.
And yeah, that's right. They added him late. They added Patrick Baldwin Jr. and a first-round pick on top of Jordan Poole for Chris Paul. They got more for Chris Paul than they did for Bradley Beal. That's insane.
I know, insane.
like how does that happen? But yo, all right. Let's talk about Phoenix first.
Yeah.
And trade right now.
Same.
Y'all get a C.
Yeah.
Cause like, all right, look, man, I get it. Bradley Beal KD, Devin Booker. On paper, that's insane. But
Mhm.
yo, who else you got? DeAndre Ayton. And then after that, you got nobody. Like anybody
Yeah.
you're able to sign. Like I think Josh Okogie is a restricted free agent. He can get priced out easily. I don't
I'm
even.
sure I'm sure they're bringing him back.
Yeah, I'm sure they want to bring him back, but he could easily be priced out. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? That's it. That's all they got.
pretty much.
So depth is important in the NBA, man. Like I know Celtics fans like to complain, and it's kind of like outrageous that they complain or we complain because like bro, like yo, for real. But depth is important.
Hmm.
And that's all they got. Like it's still yet to be seen what they do. I know there's rumors of them trading DeAndre Ayton for more depth pieces.
Yes.
And I think if that happens, maybe I'll like this trade a little bit more for them and give them a better grade.
Yeah, as a standalone, I would just say C.
Yeah.
Because even outside of the depth, I do think that them three like is very. It's just like it's very offensive heavy. I don't know who they would be guarding defensively, um, and I think that like is a legitimate concern. Like
Yeah.
obviously there is a lot of just memes and stuff about people who say that like oh who these guys are gonna guard or shit like that. But I think as a core, none except KD have shown to be competent. Um, and I mean I might give Book some
Book puts
love
in
as
the
well.
effort at least.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
he might put in effort and all that kind of stuff too.
He's just
But
small. Yeah.
KD like is also aging to where I don't think he'll be as great as a help side defender anymore.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, you just have Book and Beal who have never shown to be high level defenders,
Mm.
and now you just have a gutted roster.
Yep.
So overall, like I think they're just trying to make these superstar flash moves and stuff like that. And until they move Aiton for depth,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I said, standalone, this is just a C. But until they
Yeah.
move Aiton for depth, I think overall, like Phoenix is very like I don't like the position that they're in.
Yeah.
And if I was a Phoenix fan, I would be
I'd be
concerned
concerned. Yeah.
until some depth pieces
Yeah.
because
And
that is
yeah.
because
And
that is real scary.
and ideally you're getting like 3 minimum. I don't think 2 really solves any of your main issues here.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the that kind of pull, if we're being honest.
At this moment, probably not.
But yeah, no, like I can see the other aspect of this where people love that they basically got Bradley Beal for just Chris Paul.
Mhm.
But that aside, man, you got your flexibility of your roster just to get Bradley Beal, and I don't like
Still
that.
got a no trade clause.
Yeah, and he still has no trade clause, so like you're probably going to lose him for nothing down the road when the owner realizes, oh fuck, we're fucked.
Yeah.
So
And clearly, you could have gotten like a Jordan Poole and Patrick Baldwin in some picks
yo, and honestly,
for the value of CP
And
rather than just
honestly-
like a Bradley Beal.
that would have been. I probably would have liked that more for them.
I think it would have been way more interesting.
You know what I mean?
I
Like,
think the value of Bradley Beal and Jordan Poole, not that
but
comparable
players
right now,
yes,
right
yeah,
now,
yeah,
but I could see them being relatively similar. Like I think
Yeah.
I want to give Beal the benefit of the doubt and say that he still has like all-star level play.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could see a world where Jordan Poole can reach all-star level, I guess.
yeah.
Or fringe all-star level, I'll say,
Mhm.
as like the primary point guard rather than like the secondary or like playing along Steph, where that's like a
Yeah,
weirdish role.
he would legitimately be a third option there too.
Yeah, so I could see, yeah, that also like puts it into
Yeah,
a different conversation when it's like this is what you just got for CP
yeah,
from the Warriors. So
yeah. So, but yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I know a lot of motherfuckers like in the media have the Suns in the top 5 contenders. They're not contenders right now. I'm sorry. Like,
that's crazy.
you can't. Like, I know they're gonna win games. Like, the talent alone is gonna win them games. Those 3, but they're gonna make the playoffs. But they're not contenders in my eyes. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean it's like it's interesting how they never realize that shit just don't work. Like
yeah,
this is just Brooklyn Nets 2.0, and that
Mhm.
never worked out. And I would say it's worse.
yeah.
Like
No,
it's worse than the
100%
Brooklyn
worse.
squad
Yeah,
in terms of role players and like the actual stars. Like you have
Mhm.
an older KD, you have Book, which I would say is probably like better than Kyrie and Harden at those times.
hmm
But Beal is absolutely not on the level of those two guys.
yeah.
Like
I agree.
Harden and KD were fighting for fucking MVP on the Brooklyn Nets for a short period of time for sure before he got injured.
Yeah.
But those two were like MVP candidates.
When Kyrie was out, averaging like 25 and 14, like
some shit like that. Yeah, no, it was very
legit.
very good.
I just don't like the construction of the roster, and who knows? Maybe they prove me wrong and they trade Ayton for some legitimate pieces. I mean, Chris Paul got legitimate pieces. So who's to say DeAndre Ayton can't? Maybe he can. Maybe Dallas was like, hey, whatever. But for now,
let's prosper. Maybe we'll do some.
With the
Mavs.
Yo, imagine.
Dude, I wanted him so bad, bro.
You can have Brock.
One tick away. I'm so tight with the Mavs.
You can have Brogdon. But no, for real. Like, just not even just straight up as it is from a value standpoint, but just overall roster construction. It just doesn't make sense for Phoenix to trade for Brad Beal. But you know what? I'm happy he didn't go to Miami. Fuck him. So
same. That is probably the best thing about it.
Yes.
And they're gonna be fun to watch. Sure. I mean, I'll like to see them all get hoops. You know.
I'm gonna tune in.
Tween.
I'm gonna tune in because that's gonna be
pure hoopers right there.
Yo, man. That ass. It's gonna be like rec league, bro. No defense. Like just fucking ISO. Get them
so buckets. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna enjoy it for sure. But contender, that's a different conversation.
Yeah, I don't know if I would put them as like championship favorites type of shit, but like,
yeah,
it's possible that they make the playoffs and they're a scary team to play against, I guess. But but yeah, we'll see. The Warriors. All right.
Oh man, yo, I still don't really know how the fuck I feel about the Warriors.
Okay. I took some notes on this, and I honestly tried to think about why the fuck they would do this trade.
No, absolutely.
And the more I thought about it, it's because of the new CBA. I think this is a move triggered by the owners telling him, we're not paying Jordan Poole. We need to get under this fucking second tax apron because the Warriors have been the highest paying tax team for like the last 6 years, right? They played the most tax out of anybody. They pay like almost $100 million a year. You get an expiring in Chris Paul. You lose the 3 years of Jordan Poole's recent extension, and I honestly believe this was set up for flexibility. And it almost leads me to believe that they're gonna lose Draymond now because of it. It was 1,000% of the CBA move, though. I feel.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like that makes sense for sure.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that came to mind in terms of like Chris Paul isn't expiring.
Yeah.
But. Yeah, I don't know. It just also struck me as a bit rushed.
100% rushed. Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of the way that they did it, how fast they did it, and who they ended up going for, which was like Chris Paul. I wouldn't say it felt like a splash move or anything like that, but like I said, it just felt rushed overall, and that this just doesn't feel like something that Bob Myers would have done.
Oh no, 100% no.
Yeah, he has always struck me, and the Warriors have always struck me as way more methodical and maybe even a little too safe.
Yeah.
And they've been able to do that because they have like a top 3 player in the world of the past 5 years.
Exactly.
And just an overall good like roster construction. But yeah, this just didn't seem Warriors-esque to make this big of a trade that might not. Or most likely won't be beneficial.
Yeah.
The only way it could be beneficial in my eyes would be that CBA. But in terms of being competitive, it also feels like this is what they could think of as being like an all-in. Like this is because Steph Curry's like obviously the timeline. So we're like, let's try to get as much.
A 39-year-old Chris Paul though.
Like, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm like, it's rushed, but I can see. I'm wondering if they were like, oh, we're gonna try to go all in on Steph and get as much after losing, obviously, like Draymond and then now Jordan Poole.
I also see a world, and this is obviously just an assumption and theoretical. I'm not in the locker room. I don't have sources or any shit like that. But there's a real world where the reason Myers stepped down at all is because ownership has told him, like, look, the window's probably closed. We're not willing to spend that kind of money anymore. And he's like, fuck that. You're not ruining my legacy. So he's leaving. There's a real, I think there's a real possibility Draymond just leaves.
I think Bob Myers leaving is just the idea that, like, it is really coming to an end.
It's the end, yeah.
And I don't think he wants to, rebuild a team and shit like that. And
realistically, ownership like that, and this is fair to their ownership, in my opinion, where it's like, you're not willing to spend unless you're going to win a championship.
Yeah.
And they've done that, and they've they've won the championships because they were willing to spend over the course of this dynasty. But that's probably coming to an end, and you know what? It screams save your money. You're still going to sell tickets with Steph and Clay, and you get rid of Jordan. They probably rush to give that contract to you as well.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm saying. Where I'm like, they're going all in for the next like 2 years, and this, I guess, Chris Paul obviously isn't like, oh my god, the biggest game changer, but I guess his value is still there when he's healthy, and they may have felt like that was the only thing available.
Maybe, yeah.
Which is why, like I'm saying, it feels rushed. But I agree with everything you're saying, and the fact that they're trying to go all in for these next like 1 to 2 years, and giving Steph a chance, because after that they don't see themselves being for the chip anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
At least for the near future.
And as far as their grade, they got a D from me, and that's being generous.
Yeah, I did a C minus because I was like, I don't know.
Nah, that's a D, bro.
I really don't know how to feel about this.
They threw in a first-round pick and Patrick Baldwin Jr. I don't know how I feel.
No, I agree. I mean, I would say that just raised my value for the Wiz.
Yeah, dropped. No, exactly. That's what I actually looked at it the other way. That's because yo, man,
that's fair. No, that's fair.
Because like you're giving up. I think the first-round pick was enough. I don't think I would have given him a D if it was just the first-round pick.
Yeah.
Like which, realistically is a middling pick anyway.
Yeah.
But I think I actually like Patrick Baldwin Jr. as a player.
I mean, he was potential. Like a top prospect.
Yeah. And they got him late.
Yeah, I think he had injury concerns or something like that too. But
the potential is definitely there, and I was kind of shocked that they included him as like a throw-in. Like, here you go. But hey, who knows? Maybe not all.
Bro, they might not fuck with a lot of the young prospects on the Warriors.
I mean, there's rumors of them wanting to trade Kuminga.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like they might not even have faith in Kuminga. Obviously, JP is young. Patrick Baldwin Jr.
Hey man, I'm told Peyton Pritchard's been eyed from Golden State. I'll take Kuminga.
Hey, I'm down for that, man.
I'll take Kuminga.
I'm so down for that.
Y'all can have Peyton get buckets Pritchard, bro.
Exactly.
But no, I gave him a D, just because.
Yeah, C minus D.
Yeah, it's the same shit. It's the same shit.
Same ballpark.
And the Wizards, all right, look, man. I know when the initial Bradley Beal trade happened, we was like, what the fuck is that man doing? But
yeah, and obviously because they don't have leverage.
They don't have leverage, yeah. But yo, that man cooking.
Still bad.
That man's cooking, and I think between all the trades that we've seen happen, Brad, but like I love what this dude's doing for that team.
Yeah, no,
bro.
for sure.
Yo, like the money that they're saving, I think you're getting like you got Jordan Poole, who, like I said, I don't think this dude is a franchise player, but for the position that the Wizards are in, he's a good connecting player, like to transition from, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, you take swings on players like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he could be something. Yeah. Like we've seen flashes, and he is a very like highlight heavy guy, but he's never had the keys. So if he has the keys, at least for a season or two, we see what we can do with it. If they bottom out, they get more assets. If they win a little bit, then they're like, oh shit, we got something. Yeah. We have a player to work around.
Yep.
And the same thing with like their picks, like getting Bilal, super raw prospect who could be something amazing. And I love that kind of pick for the 7-8 that they get, because they've been getting that pick for like 3 years, and they got like Denny and Corey Kisper and Rui, and it's like another very like high ceiling, maybe low floor. They were just like, oh, let's try to like get a good prospect. And unfortunately, like not a lot of them have panned out. I still have faith in them, but getting someone like Bilal too. I was like, yo, man, I love the direction they're going.
And I can see a world too where they just go all in on just full young guys, where Poole is gonna put up his numbers like on that shit team, average like 25 plus, right, and just put up those numbers.
JP gonna have the time of his life.
And then you can realistically see a team like on the cusp of contention be desperate and see those numbers and give them hella assets for that.
Yeah.
And even T.S. Jones, I think the highlight on T.S. Jones for the last few years has been the best assist to turnover ratio in the NBA, right? And when he's gotten a chance in Memphis, he's looked like a legit point guard on a really good team
There's a
contending
lot
teams.
of with the way Javi moving and getting injured and shit. Like, there's a lot of data.
Yeah,
Tyus Jones being a good starting point.
Exactly, and he's gonna get those. He's gonna get those numbers. He's gonna get numbers in Washington as well. He's like, someone got to feed Jordan Poole the ball, but like, and there's a world where a team is gonna give them a lot of assets for that at the trade deadline or something. So I love this trade for the Wizards. Whether or not they trade those guys down the line or not, I actually gave these motherfuckers an A for that.
I gave him A+, but I mean, same shit. Like
same
I said, I do think the Wizards will be reminiscent of, or like maybe a little bit, maybe a tier below, but like of the Jazz this year, and just like the way that the Jazz are moving overall. Like they got this player that was looked down on, or had like a drop of, or just didn't have a lot of value. JP definitely dropped in value after last season, and
100%. He
could come back, be either a fringe all-star, maybe he goes crazy and ends up being an all-star.
Yeah.
They're relatively competitive, but they end up dropping and being in the lottery. Getting a good pick, all that kind of stuff. So I don't think they're going to be going in a direction where it's like Houston Rockets-esque, where just play young guys, bottom out, get the best pick. But it's going to be like what we can do with our pieces. They might overperform and we do well, but we're still going to like get a good pick and like pivot and move the way that we want to move. So
and I love making fun of Jordan Poole and everything, but I do think him being in this Wizards situation where there's literally zero pressure on him. Like, you're on the Warriors, so there's championship pressure there. Like, that's a lot for any young player to take on right away. Especially coming from, like, you know, he's a journeyman, like, in the G League for X amount of years, all that shit. Like, you jump into that situation, that's a lot of pressure. But you go to a situation like this where there's literally no expectations. Like, yo, just go out there and fucking get 30 points.
Ball.
Just ball. Like, you get $20 million, you get the ball out. Apparently, there's a lot of bad bitches, I guess. Like the Jordan Poole meme. Like the Jordan Poole meme, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, apparently everybody's telling me, like, there's a lot of that courtside shit with watching the Jordan piece. So you know what? Yo, this man is gonna be in a perfect situation for a player.
He's gonna be living the life.
Yeah, and he already got a ring. So, like, there's literally no worries. And a player like Jordan Poole with zero pressure, I think he's gonna fucking like thrive in a situation like that.
Exactly. So, and I'm curious to see how he's gonna play. If it will be more like ball dominant, or if it will be like replicable to what he was doing with the Warriors. Because obviously with the Warriors, he was basically Steph Curry 2.0, but like we're not 2.0, but like the worst version.
What we are about to witness is if J.R. Smith ever got the keys to a team.
I'm saying, like, it might just be that, bro. This might be pure hoopers. Just
pure hoops, bro. That team is going to be zero defense and just like 110 shots a game, bro. I'm telling you.
He's going to have like 3 logo threes a game that he wanted to take out his whole life.
For real, we're gonna get we're gonna get a lot of memes this year because he's gonna do the Steph shit where he just turns away. Like, and there's gonna be misses, bro. Like, there's gonna be a lot of that. But you know what? Like I said, I think if you were a Wizards fan, I think this is a great like starting point for you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Great starting
point. Especially like getting all the stuff that you got from rebuilding late. Yeah, like, you didn't sell high on any of these guys. Maybe Porzingis. Yeah. But even then, like, you didn't have the most leverage because of his contract. But yeah, you sold very, very late on all these pieces,
especially
and
you're basically
Beal, losing so they got in this offseason just already is amazing.
Yeah, it's a huge win for them, and I think all 8 of you Wizards fans should be very happy.
Actually, though.
Nah, for real.
I heard them Wizards tickets be cheap as hell, bro.
Yo, for real? Like, go dead ass.
Apparently. Well, my friend who lives in DC would be saying that.
Yo, for sure, dude. Like, if I was a Wizards fan, I'd be a season ticket holder right now.
Oh, yeah, dude.
That's a fun team, man. Okay, look. I love contending, right? As any fan of any team ever, you want your team to win the championship.
Bro, contending is way more stressful.
Contending is stressful as fuck. I got gray hairs, bro. And I don't think anybody can argue this, right? Obviously, winning a championship is fun. But, like, the most fun of this era was when, like, we had IT and there were no expectations.
Yeah.
Like, that was so fun, bro. We made the Eastern Conference Finals. We were like, what? We made
Those are my teams, bro.
those are just like no expectations. You expected to lose, and then out of nowhere, these fucking lovable idiots just come out here and win games. You're like, oh shit, and that was fun. And I think the Wizards are in that era right now. And I'm not saying they're gonna pull off 2014, 2015 Celtics type shit, but hey, man, it's gonna be fun to watch. And if you love basketball,
there'll be fun stuff.
Yeah, man. If you love basketball, go to a Wizards game.
Yeah, I just hope it's structured overall. Like I said, I love rebuilding teams, but I was less like excited to watch the Rockets. I'm actually more excited to watch the Rockets now. We could talk about Ime whatever, but they're gonna be a structured team now, in my opinion, and they have so much young talent. But like watching OKC from these years, I've always enjoyed them because they've always tried very hard. It wasn't like we're gonna bottom out or like we're gonna just tank intentionally. Like they would take their players out and shit, but it was never like bad hoops.
Exactly.
So I think the Wizards, I would hope that they don't give out bad hoops. I don't know who their coach is at the moment.
Wes, I just looked that up. It's funny you mentioned that. I was thinking the same thing.
Oh, okay.
Who the fuck is this coach? It's Wes Unseld Jr.
Okay, Wes Unseld Jr. is cool. Like he actually had them playing well.
Yeah.
So I don't expect him to not have the young guys playing well too.
And I think, at least for him, lucky for him, I guess, there's going to be less pressure on him too. And he's going to have a longer leash and potentially get an extension to kind of see where this goes. You know what I mean? It's not fair to fire a team that's a coach that on a team that's
So. I mean, and even when everyone was healthy, like the Wizards were mildly competitive. No, they were in the beginning of the season.
Like the first 3 weeks.
They were mildly competitive. Everyone got injured.
The thing is, okay, and the reason I say ass is because there was a thing going around, and I fully agree, where the Wizards were like 13-4 or some shit over the last like 17 games of their stretch, and then Bradley Beal said some shit like sometimes you're not built for this or some shit like that, and I'm just like, why would you say that in the middle of a winning streak? Why would you say that? I don't know the exact quote verbatim, but it was a terrible quote. Feel free to look it up at some point after this. It was a terrible quote to say at the time, and you're just like, what?
That's too funny.
Oh man, but hey, the Wizards, love what you're doing. I think positivity, a lot to look forward to as a Celtics fan coming up at the 2020-24. I can't wait for October. Like, fuck Summer League. I don't give a fuck about Summer League.
Hey, we got some interesting prospects.
I mean, come on.
I'm trying to see JD, Jordan Wall.
Look,
that dude from Hungary.
Listen, I'll be tuning in, but catch me in October, bro. Like for sure. I'm not like. I cannot fucking wait. Well, I cannot fucking wait for free agency because I think we do make another move, but I cannot fucking wait for October, bro. I cannot.
I do want to see them suit up and play.
Oh my god! Already. And we finally get a summer of preparation from Joe, and he has staff around him. Oh man, it's gonna be fun. I can't fucking wait. I'm back. I'm all in, baby. I'm ready to be hurt again. Hurt again.
Like I said, Rob has a healthy offseason for once.
Rob has a second healthy. Oh my god, I cannot wait for Rob.
I'm so excited.
All right. But until then, that's all we got. Until next time, signing off.
Peace.
Peace.